Hello. Okay. The topic of today is Romanesque art. The audio sounds fine. Um, After finishing with Romanesque art, I will talk about medieval mythology or Romanesque mythology. Like when you think in the mythology or the mythical creatures, mythical stories, and also literature of the medieval times. So it's like from, let's say, Paleo-Christian to Renaissance. So just going to start. It's very long, so I hope you enjoy. Romanesque art. Romanesque art flourishes in the Christian West between the 11th and 13th centuries by country as a result of the summation of the Roman traditions and Oriental influences received by the Byzantines or the Arabs, and in the late 10th century Christian Europe reached stability and the church had supremacy. His power, well, its power was expanded with failed apocalyptic prophecies. Yes, like in the year 1000, it was said that the world is going to finish, but at the end, it didn't finish. The cult of relics were encouraged, and there were pilgrimages to holy places. The main ones: Jerusalem, Rome, and Santiago de Compostela, which led to the opening of roads and affected the artistic production. In the 11th century, they increased agricultural yields and technical progress, which led to a social evolution. Romanesque art spread from Scandinavia to southern Italy and the north of the Iberian Peninsula, including the British Isles and much of Central Europe. It is variable nationally and regionally. This is a map of Europe, the most important places. Introduction. This vision introduction. Okay, I'm going to delete this. A map of Euros of the main centers of Romanesque. Cluny Abbey will be the beginning. It was founded in 910 by William the Pious. Monastery that set what's monastery said that's only of it. I don't understand this very well. Monastery. I just say obey the Pope. Cluniac reform, which make it stand in the center of thousands of monasteries that follow the feudal systems. Architecture. There are different kinds of construction. Churches, walls, houses. Churches are the most important, divided in narthex, 3 or 5 naves, presbytery, transept or traversal nave, the crossroads, and the ambulatory, with the apsidioles and altar. Use of buttresses and ashlar to build. Arrowhead window. It is a defensive window used to in walls in and defensive structure. You can see the exterior but not the inverse. Round arch is the used arch, Roman influence, barrel vault, both made as extension of the round arches, Roman influence, growing vault, when barrel vaults at mixes and domes, barrel and growing domes. And I'm going to write this format a bit better, one moment. It will be the beginning. So the different things, the arrowhead window, round arch, parts of vaults, vaults and domes, dome, Columns kind of support with historiated capitals. Historiated is like it tells stories, parts of stories. Cruciform pillar, a kind of pillar. Here you can see the capitals have like figures and so later there will appear some more close-up pictures. Parts of a church, plant of a church that shows the two levels and the three naves and the distribution of weight. Ambulatory and absidioles, this is where the altar is, symbolism of the crown of the church. This is the plans of the churches, the cathedrals, with the different parts. Here another picture. Decoration, different kinds of sculptural decoration. Next image is an example in a real church. Just this. Here you see the decorations, more parts. This is to support the domes. Sculpture and painting, there are some conventions to have clear historiated capital. The sculptoric program wants to show the Bible and the Word of God, educational and moralizing function. The capital is from the Claustro of San Juan de la Peña. Is capitals. Next image is a lintel as other example of the same function. Lintel. So you see. This tympanum shows the horror vacui, fear to emptiness. Emptiness, I think it's written emptiness. That is a tendency to cover all the space with sculptures. This is the Apocalypse with the Pantocrator and such, front of conquest. It's this one, horror vacui. You see, it's full of figures. And here's the Pantocrator. Here you see the parts of the front. Let me edit these parts of the front. Pórtico de la Gloria, this one. Pórtico de la Gloria is in Santiago de Compostela, if I remember well. Law of the interior scheme refers that figures are adapted to the frame. Now this, you see the different parts here with the sculptures, and this is the law of the interior scheme. The figures are adapted to the space that they had to fill. And now it starts. France has lots of Romanesque examples. There are 4 groups. First group, churches with barrel or growing vault. Ambulatory, Burgundy, Poitou, Provence, subdivision in 3 groups. Cluny, Vézelay, and Fontenay. Cluny group. Cluny is the model, although that church is almost disappeared. It was the biggest abbey of all Christianity. It only remains... That's so lazy. Only remains the Tower of Blessed Water. Stand out the capitals. Other churches are Langres, Autun, standing out by its front with a tympanum of the Final Judgment, Notre Dame de Béon, and Paray-le-Monial. So here, Cluny, Langres, Autun. Vézelay group. Sainte Madeleine of Vézelay is the model. Important by pilgrimage, stand out the tympanum, representing the coming of the Holy Spirit. Other example is Saint Lazarus of Avalon. This is Vézelay. Fontenay group, Cistercian art, equal height of the 3 naves with towers in the crossroad. Church of Fontenay, Notre Dame de Poitiers, stand out by its front, totally vertical, 3 floors, great sculptural decoration, chiaroscuro. Saint Trophime of Arles has a nice cloister and sculptoric decoration about the Final Judgment. The Cathedral of Avignon stands out by the sculpture of the Virgin in a tower. Fontenay, Notre Dame de Poitiers, Saint Trophime of Arles. Second group, pilgrimage churches. Saint Cernin de Toulouse is the second oldest church of France, only after Cluny. built in the tomb of Saint Cernin, stands out the Porte de Miquelville at south with a tympanum about the Ascension of Christ with 6 angels, including Saint Peter and Saint Paul. Notre Dame du Port is other great example of Romanesque construction. Saint Cernin de Toulouse, Notre Dame du Port, I really like this one. Third group, use of Byzantine dome in pendentives. Saint Front de Périgueux has 5 domes. Saint Etienne de la Cité is other example. The Cathedral of Cahors also has domes and a nice tympanum. The Cathedral of Angulema, dedicated to Saint Peter, is a great church of only one nave divided by 4 sections, covered by domes supported by arches. Saint Front de Périgueux, Cahors, and fourth group. Do you remember Anamura? Yes, I think I remember. Hello, how are you? Um, Fourth group, it's the Norman group. Great influence of England and Sicily. Read balls. The Cathedral of Bayeux is a nice example. Also, the Cathedral of Thérisy, Saint Etienne de Caen or Abbey of Men stand out by its verticality. Saint Trinité of Caen or Abbey of Women is similar to Saint Etienne of Caen, being the towers very important. And here are the examples. Bayeux, Saint Etienne de Caen, and Saint Trinité de Caen. I'm okay. I'm fine too, thank you. There are other churches I wanted to add, although I didn't follow that list. Other churches. I edit this. There are other churches. Saint Foy de Conques stands out by its reliquary and the tympanum, with a strong horror vacui about the final judgment. Notre Dame de Fontcombolt is a jewel of Romanesque art. Saint Sabine sur Tempe stand out by its painting, and other is Saint-Cyr-le-Doc. And for the Conquest, you see here with the horror vacui, it's filled with sculptures. Notre Dame de Fontcombolt, this interior is really beautiful. And Sabine sur Tempe is very beautiful, very white, and Saint-Cyr-le-Doc. The Abbey of Fontevraud has the sarcophagi of Richard Lionheart and Elizabeth of Angulema. Saint Guilhem le Desert is in a medieval tomb and has an altar from the 12th century, and Saint Gilles du Gard has a central nave much more higher and stands out the western front that was flanked by 2 towers. And give a moment because I thought to save it. Okay. Abbey of Fontainebleau is the sarcophagi. Saint Guilhem le Desert, the medieval town. Here's cool. Sculpture. Most of the sculptures are in buildings. Different schools. The school of Languedoc probably is where it starts off. Desire of movement. Tympanum of Moissac about the final judgment. Tympanum of Belial, other example. This tympanum of Moissac. You can see again here the horror bow, and in this one the same. It's filled with sculptures. And the topic is the same, with the Pantocrator in the center, that is Jesus. And then different characters like the Tetramorphs, that are 4 of the Apostles, and other characters related to the Apocalypse. This is the final judgment in both of them. School of Auvergne. From here are the capitals of the Church of Clermont-Ferrand and the Front of Conquest, to say some, small and fat figures. School of Burgundy, movement, elongated figures, capitals of Cluny, tympanum of Bethelite, tympanum of Autun. West of France, in existence of tympanum in France, independent figures and in archivolts. Notre Dame de Poitiers and Angulema. School of Provence, inspired in the sculpture of late Empire of Rome. Saint Trophim of Arles. These are churches that already appear, so that's why I'm not adding more pictures. History of France, transition to Gothic. So capitals of Clermont-Ferrand. Here you see again the history of that capital, showing different characters of certain biblical stories. About painting, there are 2 styles. First style, Saint-Sabin, stand out by the use of light colors, standing out figures over background, conventionalism. Second style, Liguet and Montoya, is like Byzantine painting, don't forget manuscripts. The Tapestry of Bayeux is a 70 meters tapestry depicting the previous event to the Norman conquest of England, finishing in the Battle of Hastings. Here are some paintings and the Tapestry of Bayeux. It is actually very long. I'm going to find out. Tapestry of Bayeux, so you can see how it is like the real length. I think there is a long picture here. Yes. The entire Bayeux tapestry, individual image on each scene at the Bayeux tapestry title. So here you see how it is. Really, really long. One of the best things from this period. See, super, super long. Well, it's 70 meters, so. Okay, going to check now this for additional pictures of churches. So it's Cluny. This is the introduction, so I just skip. It's photographs. This will appear later. This is the style of the painting. So this Cluny, capitals of Cluny, Langres, Autumn, interior of Autumn, the tympanum of Autumn. All the tympanums you see are the same. The pantograph in the center, other characters are on it, all filled with figures, and the final judgment as the main topic. Notre Dame de Bion, Paray Le Monial, Notre Dame de Bion, Bezelay, very beautiful this one. Fontenay, Notre Dame de Poitiers, San Trófimo of Arles, Avignon, Notre Dame du Port. It's really, really beautiful. I really like this decoration, especially this this kind of stars. And from the Périgord, Saint-Étienne de la Cité, Cahors, Angoulême, Bayeux. This one is also very epic. Cerisy, San Esteban de Caen, Trinité of Caen, and then others, Saint Foy de Conquest, Notre Dame de Fontcombolt, Saint Sabine sur Gartempe. These paintings, Annecy le Doc, Fontebrault, the sarcophagi, other sculptures, Moissac, this cloister with the historiated capitals, Beaulieu, tympanum, more capitals, and then some paintings. And this the lectionaries. I will talk more a little about the lectionaries at the end. And this the Bayeux tapestry. Okay. Next country is Germany. Germany has influence of the Ottonian and Carolingian art. The buildings are not vertical ones because they are higher. The westward is a monumental facade in the west with two towers. Stand out the Rhenish group. Spira was very important in the Holy Roman Empire. This cathedral has, as curiosity, the colonnade just below the roof. The Cathedral of Mainz was very reconstructed in the 13th century. The Cathedral of Worms has three naves, a great transept with a dome and a choir. It has circular towers. So here Spira, Mainz, Worms, this one I really like this one, especially because the windows. Other constructions, the Cathedral of Bamberg is also an imperial one, an imperial cathedral, Kaiserdom, like the three already mentioned. It is in the transition to Gothic. Two apses, it has the altar of Beit Stos and also the equestrian statue of the rider of Bamberg, and the tombstone of Henry II the Holy and his wife Cunegonde of Luxembourg by Tilman Riemensnyder. These sculptures will appear later. This Bamberg, the altar of Beit Stos. The Abbey of Maria Lach is built with volcanic stone in the exterior. You can see the Westberg and the towers. St. Maria in Capitol is one of the 12 Romanesque churches of Cologne. Stands out the wooden doors and the Virgin of Limburg. It's Maria Lach. Saint Maria in Capitol. About sculptures, the German artists are nice smelters following the Ottonian tradition. Stand out the Bergwand doors of Hildesheim with lots of iconographic themes and the baptismal font of Hildesheim made of bronze. The descent of Extern is a relief about the descent of the cross. The Golden Gate of Freiburg is other nice example. Finally, the Shrine of the Three Kings is a shrine where supposedly are the wreaths of the three kings who visited Christ when he was born. It is in the Cathedral of Cologne, actually. It's in the Cathedral of Cologne. Doors of Hildesheim, baptismal font of Hildesheim, and here the Shrine of the Three Kings. Painting is scarce. Stand out the ones from Oversell and the ones from Schwarzheimdorf. Paintings of Schwarzheimdorf. So I saw more pictures here. Spira, Mines, Worms. This is how long it is. Interiors. The vaults, Bamberg with the altar of Beit Stos. Lach Abbey. Saint Mary in Capitol. Here sculpture and doors. Doors of Hildesheim, baptismal font of Hildesheim, and some sculptures. Required of the Three Kings. The sculptures that appeared in there, they appear later in Gothic because this is like in transition between Romanesque and Gothic. Schwarzheimdorf, and okay, England now. England is related to the Norman art due to the conquest of England by William the Conqueror in 1066. Use of three naves, central apse. What is important here is that the churches are practices of Gothic style. You can find here pointed arches and rivet vaults, for example. Also, it's remarkable the jitters that their forms have. Sculptural decoration is minimal. Most of these constructions were reconstructed in the Gothic period. That's why they look Gothic. So that means that in this chapter, most of them I'm not adding photo, but you will see it here. In Gothic, they will appear. Westminster, only the foundation are from the Romanesque period, so it was very reconstructed. Lincoln, one of the biggest cathedrals in England, it was very reconstructed in Gothic. The construction began in the 11th century and finished in the 14th century, dedicated to the Virgin Mary and was a center of pilgrimage. Durham, practice of the rivet vault, Proto-Gothic. As curiosity, it was used in the films of Harry Potter, also the castle. So just picture of Durham. Later in Castle, I will show picture of the Durham Castle, but I think you can recognize here from the Harry Potter movies. I actually visit this place. Oh, it's nice. But my favorite place in this was this. The interior is just okay. This is the interior. The columns are very fat. Ely started in the 11th century, 3 floors, central nave is covered with wood, with four albums of barrel vault. Canterbury, its construction began immediately after the conquest by William from Normandy. Facade in H, 3 naves. Central nave covered with wood asinelli, 3 floors. Winchester, the construction began in the 11th century. The oldest part of the building is the crypt, where William II, son of William the Conqueror, was buried. The works continued in the 14th century, and that's why it is Gothic. So the same, Ely, and I didn't put picture of the others because Gothic. Norwich, very reconstructed in Gothic, 3 naves, very long. Peterborough began in the 12th century after one church in 10th century was burned. This is the last Romanesque cathedral, very large church, 3 naves. And Kilpeck, very curious sculptoric decoration, also the front, round church. Also, I think this is another one. Round church, also called Church of Saint Sepulchre of Cambridge, is a church with circular plant built by the Templars. So Norwich, Peterborough is also very Gothic with these towers here. And this Kilpeck with the sculptures that are very interesting. The other arts are very scarce. Just as it's worth to add the shrine of Thomas Becket as piece of jewelry. Okay, now you will see the Gothic pledge. Obviously, this is Gothic. Westminster, totally Gothic. Lincoln again, totally Gothic. Durham. This is the castle. Ely. This proto-Gothic, I'd say. Canterbury. This Gothic, you see these balls here that is totally Gothic. This obviously Gothic. Winchester. This again is Gothic. Norwich. This is also Gothic, honestly. Peterborough. This is totally Gothic. This is fan balls, typical of English Gothic. And Kilpeck with the weird sculptures you see here. Here a picture with different ones that are in this church. This is the round church. Some sculptures, the arts of Thomas Becket, and that's all. Okay, Italy. In Italy, the medieval styles weren't very well assimilated by the artists, who always looked to the classical past. There are various tones. North of Italy, Lombardy. Churches of Lombard type, following the first Romanesque. Parma, from the original building, only remains some rest. The baptistery is the other building. Stand out the Renaissance frescoes by Il Correggio. Ferrara, big building with nice paintings in the interior. San Ambrogio of Milan, poor material. The quadriportic was for the catechumens, but it lost its function with time. The bell tower has an aesthetic of defensive tower, and it's saving. So just a moment. Okay. Parma, Ferrara, this San Ambrogio of Milan. Tuscany. The main here is the group of Pisa, with the leaning bell tower of Pisa. Fresco in the apse with Christ with the Virgin and St. John. The marble has a decorative function too, multicolored marble. Other church here is San Miniato. Lazio, decoration of Cosmatesque style, use of geometric forms, marble and tesellas of mosaics to decorate. The complex of Pisa. This is the interior. This is a baptismal font. No, I don't remember the word exactly. It will appear later again. It's a pulpit. And San Miniato. This is very Renaissance, honestly. Southern area of Italy, different influences like Arab, Byzantine, and Norman. One of these buildings is the Cathedral of Palermo, of strong Eastern style. It was firstly a Byzantine basilica and was reconstructed. The Cathedral of Monreale has influence of Arab art. The cloister is the most Arab place of this building. Palermo, Monreale. Others. There are lots of Romanesque works in Italy. I will say more examples. San Vincenzo in Prato, nice decoration and a gallery called Little Gallery, wooden cover, exterior baptistery. Modena, here worker Guglielmo, stands out the facade. The Girlandin tower is decorated with Lombard arches, divided in bodies. Pomposa, it was a Clunician abbey. Central nave covered with wood. Stands out the tower, very decorated. San Michele Maggiore, Pavia, stands out the facade, buttress with chiaroscurist effects. San Zeno Maggiore, Verona, Piccolo marble exterior, Gothic rosette. So here, Modena and San Zeno Maggiore, just some examples. Baptistery of St. John, octagonal plant with dome, grid interior decoration. The three doors are very important. The south door is by Andrea Pisano and tells the life of St. John the Baptist. The north door is by Lorenzo Ghiberti and tells the life of Jesus and the fourth evangelist. The third door, also by Ghiberti, was called the Door of Paradise by Michelangelo and tells the scenes of the Old Testament. These doors will appear in later arts because they are not Romanesque. Here you can see Saint Maria de Fiori. This is in Florence. Baptistery of St. John. Spoleto stand out the paintings in the interior, Byzantine style. San Michele in Foro, the most important here is the facade, very amazing sculptoric decoration. There is a statue of the Archangel Michel in the act of killing a dragon with spear. Spoleto, San Michele in Foro. Cloister of St. John Lateran, the biggest cloister of Rome. Its columns are each one of a different style, plain or with mosaics. The wavy forms give harmony. Cloister of Paradise in the Cathedral of Amalfi, a very beautiful cloister. Cloister St. John Lateran, Cloister of Paradise. Trani stands out the facade. San Nicola Bari, important church of pilgrimage for Orthodoxian people. It contains the throne of Bari, argot by Guglielmo of Modena. The Falud, two bell towers, mosaics of Byzantine style. Here Trani, the Falud, here the Pantocrator in there. About sculptures, it has different influences, mostly French and Byzantines, interpreted in a classical sense and knowns of Renaissance. Son of Lombardy. Here works the master Guglielmo of Modena, working in the facade of the Cathedral of Modena. Guglielmo of Verona works with his disciple Nicola in the Cathedral of Ferrara, San Zeno, and the Cathedral of Verona. Benedetto Antelami is the most important sculptor of the Italian Romanesque. He works in the Cathedral of Parma, where is his descent. Also is by him the equestrian statue of Oldrado da Treseno in the facade of the Palacio della Regione in Milan. Son of Tuscany, it follows the Byzantine tradition. Guglielmo makes the pulpit of the Cathedral of Pisa. And southern throne of Italy, very important. Guglielmo de Modena makes the throne of Bari, mixes influences between classical, Eastern, and Romanesque. The cloister of the Cathedral of Monreale stands out here by its capital. Here, the example of the descent of Benedetto Antelami. About painting, the Byzantine influence is evident. Use of mosaic. To know some are the paintings of San Vincenzo di Galiano and San Angelo Informis. So here Parma, here interior of the Cathedral of Parma, very beautiful. Cathedral of Ferrara, Ambrosio of Milan, Pisa, San Miniato, Palermo, Monreale. Here you see the decorations, the columns. History that capital. Here are others. Modena, Pomposa, Pavia, San Zenon de Verona, San Juan, Baptistery of St. John in Florence. Here from the sky, the interior. These are the doors. This is Renaissance. Spoleto Cathedral, San Miguel in Foro, Very interesting, these columns here. That is for decoration. This is the Byzantine Pantocrator Encephalou. Here, sculpture and painting. Now Spain. I'm going to say manually. Spain is very important in Romanesque, influence of Visigothic, Merovingian, and Mozarabic constructions. Hold on, is the string going? Okay. th century, Aragon. The taqueado jaqués is a kind of checkered decoration. The Cathedral of Jaca stands out by its front, same as the Church of Santa Cruz de Serós. Church of the Castle of Loarre, San Juan de la Peña stands out by its sculptures, same as San Pedro de Siresa and the cloister of San Pedro el Viejo, sepulchre of Doña Sancha. So here the Cathedral of Jaca, Santa Cruz de Serós, Loarre, and San Juan de la Peña. Here again, San Juan de la Peña, the historiated capital, and San Pedro el Viejo, here again, historiated capitals. León, Church of San Isidoro de León, with nice paintings from the Escuela Castellano-Leonesa, will translate as the Castilian Leones School, painting with more expressiveness and naturalism, influenced by Mozarabic miniatures, more narrative trend. Two covers, Puerta del Cordero y Puerta del Perdón. This means door of the Lamb and door of the forgiveness. And Santiago de Compostela is very important for pilgrimage. It has the Portada de las Praderías, not sure how to translate this. The doors of silver, I don't know. From Romanesque, and Portico de la Gloria, the doors of glory from Gothic. San Martín de Fromista. And about sculptures are the crucifix of Fernando I and Doña Sancha of Ivory and the Cristo de Carrizo that lost its cross. San Isidoro de León with the different paintings. Santiago de Compostela. This is the doors of glory. San Martín de Fromista. And here's some sculptures. Crucifix of Fernando I and Doña Sancha, and Cristo de Carrizo, this Christ that is missing the cross. Catalunya, stand out San Genís les Fonts and San Andrés Sureda by their lintels and Arles sur Terre by the decoration and the sacred sarcophagus. San Genís les Fonts and San Andrés Sureda. Here sarcophagus, Les sur Terre sarcophagus. 12th century. Here I will talk Castile and its schools, also the cloister of Silos and Catalunya. A school of Segovia, characterized by a portico with round arches over columns that round the temple in three of its sides. Eastern influence, as the use of caliphal rivet vaults. Churches of San Millán with the casket, Veracruz, San Esteban, and San Martin, different churches. San Millán, San Esteban, San Martin. School of Avila, group derived from, and I think I'm going to change this, one moment, because I think I let too much Spanish here. I'm just going to change this. It's fine, but for this I'm going to change to school. School of Segovia. School of Avila, group derived from San Isidoro de León. Here are included the Church of San Andrés, the Cathedral of Zamora, the Old Cathedral of Salamanca, and the Old Cathedral of Salamanca, the Basilicas of San Vicente de Ávila and San Pedro de Ávila, and the Colegiata de Santa María la Mayor, Toro. School of Galicia follows the characteristic of Santiago de Compostela, Cathedral of Tuy. So this is Zamora, Old Cathedral of Salamanca, San Pedro de Ávila, Tuy. Here another school of Soria, Oriental characters like in the cloister of San Juan de Duero with rivet arches of horses so interlaced, and in San Juan de Rabanera. Sorry for the bell, probably it was here. In Burgos is the cloister of Santo Domingo de Silos, standing out by its sculptoric decoration of educational type in capitals. I think this I should do like this. Okay, so cloister of San Juan de Duero, Santo Domingo de Silos in Burgos. Santo Domingo de Silos in Burgos. Here the decoration of the capital is just amazing. And not only the capital, so also these kind of pillars. Catalonia. In the 12th century persist some churches with the forms of the first Romanesque and others with influences of the French or Italian Romanesque. Here is the Seo de Urgel. San Clemente de Taúl is very important by its apse. It's by the Escuela Catalana of Painting. It's the Catalan school, following the Byzantine distribution of the paintings. So in the apse is the Pantocrator with the tetramorphs. Ego sum lux mundi. That means I am the light of the world. Others here are San Pere de Roda, San Pedro de Galgans, San Vicente de Cardona, Santa Maria de Ripoll with night front, and Gerona with night cloister. Virgin of Gerona, typical Theotokos, throne of the child. The Majestat but law, and Christ in triumphant attitude over death. This Seu de Urgel, San Clemente de Taúl with this painting. Obviously the one here is a copy and the original is in museum, like more protected. That is what I remember at least. San Pere de Roda, San Pedro de Galgans, Santa Maria de Ripoll, and Gerona. This is Gothic, by the way. It will appear again in Gothic. Virgin of Gerona, this is a Theotokos. Theotokos, that means the throne of the child. Like the virgin, the function of the virgin here is to be a throne. And then the child is sit in the virgin throne. This is the Majestat but law. Sculpture, monumental decoration as painting, 11th century, Catalonia. First tries the Romanesque sculpture, standing out the lintels and decoration in the three churches, I say. First tries the Roman. The three past churches. In Aragon are the cover of the Cathedral of Jaca and the Capiteles Jaqueses, Taqueado Jaques. I'm going to search this. Taqueado, so you can see more what I mean exactly with this. Taqueado Jaques is this kind of decoration in the churches. I think you can understand. Sepulchre of Doña Sancha, Plateau, Meseta, Byzantine, and German influence. I already said the sculpture here above. 12th century, the themes and style of the 11th century is expanded. French influence. Give me a moment, please. Sorry for the interruption. So, I'm going to check this a moment because, okay, I want to add some of these taqueado jaques as example because I haven't added any of that. Um, this is San Martin de Fromista. San Martin de Tours, San Martin. Yes, it's the San Martin de Fromista. Okay, I'm going to add this. It's before Sangüesa. Just a moment. Okay, so this is the taqueado jaques. 12th century, the themes and style of the 11th century is expanded. French influence in Catalonia are the cover of Santa Maria de Ripoll and the cloister of Gerona, more naturalist. In Aragon is lost the elegance of athletic figures and the capiteles jaqueses, rude figures with great expressiveness, as in San Juan de la Peña. Navarra, various influences are the cover of Sangüesa and the tympanum of San Miguel de Estela. Plateau, Meseta influences from the north of Spain, as in the frieze of Carrión de los Condes and the reliefs of the cloister of Silos. One bad click, one moment. Okay, so this is Sangüesa. The three masters of the transition to Gothic are Maestro de la Cámara Santa, Oviedo, Maestro de San Vicente, Ávila, and Maestro Mateo, Santiago de Compostela, author of the Pórtico de la Gloria. Remember, Pórtico de la Gloria is the doors of glory in Santiago de Compostela. More Theotokos, Virgin of the Arrixaca, Black Virgin. So this is Virgin Theotokos. Again, the throne of the child. In painting, there are two schools. Just to mention, there are two schools. Just to mention the tapestry of creation with Christ as creator of the universe, the altar of Santa Maria Mosol with various scenes, and the Cantigas de Santa Maria of Alfonso X the Wise. A songbook with illustration of instrumentists, tapestry of creation, altar of Santa Maria Mosol, and this the Cantigas or Canticles is songs in honor to Virgin Mary, and they had very interesting drawings, paintings, whatever you want to call, with musicians, with all instruments. Here other countries, okay. I go through Spain here. This is the taqueado jaqués, the decoration, Jaca Cathedral. There are many cathedrals in Spain. Here the history of the capitals again. San Isidoro de León with the paintings. See? Santiago de Compostela. The Doors of Glory. San Martín de Fromista. You see here the title and then the picture. So yes, there are many. And here in the presentation, obviously, I just put the ones that are more interesting because they look very similar. This is very interesting with these strange arches. San Clemente de Taul with this pantographer. You see the geometrization of the face. Here the face. You have different virgins, Virgin of Arrixaca and Black Virgin, more Theotokos. Okay, other countries. Portugal, related to the Astur-Leonese art. Astur-Leonese is from Asturias and Leon, so it's in North Spain, and Galician Portuguese. Galicia, so it's like if you imagine Portugal up is part of Spain, that's Galicia, so it means the whole west of Iberian Peninsula. Here are the cathedrals of Coimbra, Orsay, Belja, the Cathedral of Lisboa, very rebuilt, the Charola of Tomar, built by the Templars and converted in a castle between the centuries 15-17, Santa Eulalia de Arnoso, San Claudio Nogueira, and Santo André de Teloes. Coimbra, Lisboa, Charola of Tomar. This will appear also in Gothic because it is pretty much Gothic. Santo André de Teloes. Switzerland, heir of the neighboring countries like Germany, France, Austria, or Italy. San Nicolao of Giornico has nice paintings of Pantocrator and great zoomorphic and monstrous decoration. The Cathedral of Basle has two tall towers like Westwork and had a golden front that actually is in Paris. The Abbey of Payerne is heir of the Cluny type. Basle, Payerne, Austria, the Cathedral of Burg has two tall towers and a beautiful crypt. It has frescoes. The altar of Klosterneuburg is a piece of metalwork. It is in the abbey of the same name. It was made by Nicolaus von Bertun. It is made of enamel and gold. Altar of Klosterneuburg. Belgium, it was under the Ottonian Empire like the territory of the Netherlands, influenced by the German and Lombard Romanesque. The Cathedral of Tournai is very remarkable. The number of towers in the original cathedral is not known, because it is thought that the project was of 9 towers, but they didn't finish them. This will appear also in Gothic, like very early Gothic. Tournai. Scandinavia, it is the region that includes Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Expansion of Christianism and Vikings. The Cathedral of Lund has 5 organs and an astronomical clock. The Cathedral of Uppsala is made of local stone, red color. The Cathedral of Nidaros, Trondheim, is very important since the coronations were made here, and also the real crown was guarded here. So Lund, Uppsala, Nidaros, Trondheim. Poland, the Romanesque here was due to the conversion to Christianism of Mieszko I that allowed the entering of pilgrims and missionaries. The Cathedral of Gniezno has the real doors sculpted in bronze, also frescoes. The Cathedral of Krakow is in Mount Wawel with a very beautiful interior. The Church of St. Andrew in Krakow has two polygonal towers. The Collegiate of Thun in Lodz is a very well conserved building. Actually, the Polish buildings are very beautiful with this red color. You will see later, there is a castle that is very beautiful. So, Gniezno, this Krakow, this is Gothic. Hungary, the peace with the Holy Roman Empire happened when Otto I defeated them and they converted to Christianism, although the prince was still a pagan. But he saw churches as font of richness. The church of Esztergom was very rebuilt in the centuries and has been one of the most important places of history of Christianity here. The ruins of Székesfehérvár were a basilica of 3 apses and 4 towers. Obviously, this is not Romanesque, it has been rebuilt many times, but it is the only time I mention this place, so I just wanted to put the picture. But this is not Romanesque. This is neoclassical. Very, very late. The Cathedral of Pécs has Lombard influence. The Cathedral of Gyula-Fehérvár was built a few years before of the Mongolian invasion and has elements of the Proto-Gothic. The Cathedral of Kalocsa is very vertical, and other is the Cathedral of Bach. Pécs and Bach. In Holy Land, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine, the Romanesque art is a functional art, conditioned by the Crusades. When the European Christian armies settled in the conquered lands, they built their own constructions, also reconverted mosques and Byzantine constructions in churches. Here only appear a few churches. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem was converted by the Crusaders, and it still has the roundabout of Byzantine origin. Here is where supposedly Jesus Christ was jailed. The Church of Saint Anna of Jerusalem has a crypt that is venerated as the place where the Virgin Mary was born. The Cathedral of Saint John of Byblos was built as a baptistry, but was rebuilt. Strong Byzantine influences. Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, Saint Anna of Jerusalem, Saint John of Byblos, and other manifestations. This is the last part. Other countries: Coimbra, Lisboa, Charola of Tomar. This is really beautiful. Here are more churches. San Antonio de Teloes, Switzerland. Austria, Belgium, this briefly is Gothic, Scandinavia, Lund, Uppsala, Nidaros, Trondheim, Poland, Krakow, Hungary. This is the interior of Esztergom, Pécs, again, these other manifestations. Castles, palace, bridges, decorative arts, manuscripts. Castles. The castle is a defensive building, period of wars, ubication in high places, use of pit and barrier if it is not in high place, wide and high walls, turrets and battlements, doors well protected. The Tower of Homage was the final tower, the tower that the invaders must conquest. The cisterns were deposits to get water from rain. Spain is the best country to find castles due that they are very well conserved and are a lot. The Alcázar of Segovia stands out by the Room of the Kings, the Room of the Throne, and the Tower of Juan II. This castle was one of the inspirations from the Cinderella castle of Walt Disney. The castle of Almodóvar del Río is in Córdoba of Muslim origin. The castle de la Mota in Medina del Campo is where Isabel the Catholic died. Alcázar of Segovia, Almodóvar del Río, Castle de la Mota. Castle of Loarre in Huesca is very well conserved, well known by the film Kingdom of Heaven. The Castle of Monterrey in Berín is high in the valley of Monterrey, very well conserved. The Templar Castle of Ponferrada was a Templar castle, they improved the defense, and the Castle of San Javier in Navarra is a great example of medieval fortress. So Loarre, Templar Castle of Ponferrada. Now other countries. Portugal, the history of Portugal in Middle Ages is parallel to the history of Spain. The Castle of Guimarães and the Castle of Almurol are two great examples. France. At the beginning, they were simple towers called donjones. The door never was in the level of terrain. It was necessary a ladder. With the Crusades, the military architecture of the European countries is improved following Byzantine and Arab models. The citadel of Carcassonne is a great example, very amazing and big. In the castle of Falaise was born William the Conqueror. The castle of Vincennes is other example, where many kings got married and even were born. Citadel of Carcassonne, Vincennes, and other country. England, fortification of motte and bailey castles type. It was a mound in whose top was built a military structure of wood or stone, called keep, and a fenced in the feet of the hill. Keep and valley is the walled tower of homage, very high and solid, almost unbeatable fortresses. Examples of castles are the Castle of Alnwick, known by the films of Harry Potter, the Castle of Guimarães, very beautiful with the water and built by Edward I in the conquest of North Wales. The Castle of Dover, used a lot in history, and the Castle of Durham in front of the cathedral, also known by the films of Harry Potter. So this is Alnwick and this is Durham. Italy. Military architecture was not very important. Examples are the Castle of the Visconti in Pavia and the Castle of Ferrara, of red color. Visconti and Ferrara. In the Germanic countries, there are castles with door towers, high towers that you can go through. The Castle of Karlstein is in the Czech Republic and the Castle of Malbork is in Poland. Karlstein and Malbork. This one is very beautiful. Syria was the center of the battles between Templars and Arabs. The buildings here are functional and also converted mosques and Byzantine buildings into churches. Examples are the Crac des Chevaliers, the Castle of Saladin, the Citadel of Al-Markab, the Walls of Aleppo, and the Castel Blanc, a tower. Crac des Chevaliers, Castle of Saladin, Walls of Aleppo, and more things. The royal palace were residence for kings. Some examples are the Palace of the Kings of Navarra, Estella, the Imperial Palace of Alfonso VII, León, and the Palace of the Kings of Aragon, Huesca. Palace of the Kings of Navarra. Now, bridges. There are many bridges. I will mention some in Spain. Here, some of Spain. You can see parts in that food. Bridge of Besalú, Girona. Their symbolism was that the sword, the part represents the symbolism. That means that the sword were two different states of being, and the bridge was the thread that linked them. Examples are the Bridge of the Queen, Navarra, the Bridge of Cangas de Onís, Asturias, and the Bridge of Capella, Huesca. Bridge of the Queen, Navarra, Bridge of Cangas de Onís, Asturias, and Bridge of Capella in Huesca. Other manifestations about decorative arts are scarce and suffered spolio. The examples in this as examples there are the caskets of Limoges with the crucifix San Isidoro de León, the chalice of Doña Urraca, San Isidoro de León, the Arca Santa, Oviedo, the Arqueta Relicario, Monasterio de Silos, the altarpiece of San Miguel in Excelsis, San Miguel de Aradlar, And some virgins, Virgen de la Vega, Salamanca, Virgen de Irache, Virgen de las Batallas, San Pedro de Arlanza, different virgins. Here, Crucifix of Limoges, Chalice of Doña Urraca, Arca Santa of Oviedo, the Sacred Ark, Altarpiece of San Miguel in Excelsis. And about manuscripts, the tradition of manuscripts was impulsed by the Kingdom of Leon in the 10th century and continued in the Romanesque period. More production due to the economic richness. Examples are the Bible of Burgos, the Bible of Avila, the Bible of San Millán, the Beato of San Pedro de Cardeña, and the Beate of San Andrés de Arroyo. Just some examples of Bibles with the different drawings. And it's finished. This is just the artworks summary. Okay, show this. For more pictures, Segovia, Loarre, Ponferrada, Navarra, Portugal, Carcassonne. This one is amazing. Alnwick, Durham, Aalborg. This one is very beautiful. Bridge, these are the parts of the bridge. Different jewelries and decorative hearts, different virgins and manuscripts. And it's finished. Okay, so before finishing, I will talk about mythology, of course. Different books and stories about not Christian, but medieval mythology. Here it is, the Cantares de Gesta. That means epic tales told by the jugglers, the singers, like the street singers, that tell the tales of heroes. And I'm going to check in YouTube for some stuff. So one example, yes, I will put this there. So the Cid, Cantar de Mio Cid, or is the story of Rodrigo Díaz de Vivar, the Cid Campeador, that it tells about a man who lost the favor of the king, and then he has to do stuff to get the favor again. So it's like he was dishonored and exiled by the king. So the Cid, he fights against the Muslims in Valencia and other places, and he conquers Valencia, and then he gets the favor of the king again. The king wants that the daughters of Cid marry with some nobles, but these men treat bad to the daughters of Cid, like with violence and such. So the Cid, to get the honor back again, he says that judgment must be done, and at the end there is a combat. These evil men end dying, and so the daughters of Cid marry with some kings of Spain, and then the honor is restored. So well, here I just put this trailer of an animation movie so you can see.
¡Guardia! ¡Tráeme ese hombre! ¡Vuelve!
Filmax Animation presenta una superproducción épica.
Es mi legado, hijo mío.
¿Acaso quieres matarte?
No, hago ejercicio. Hace una noche preciosa.
En una época de traición y honor.
¡Jimena!
¡Padre, le amo!
Ah, debo entender que no sabes nada del duelo. ¿Mm?
¡No quiero volver a verte nunca más! ¡Y ahora vete!
¡Y no vuelvas!
¡Nos vamos, amigos! Ya nada nos retiene aquí. Oh, veo que te alegra verme.
¡Ah! ¡Un bicharraco!
Solo es un tejón.
Muy pronto invadiré el resto de la península.
Estas navidades, prepárate
¡Vamos, aquí estoy! Espero que sepas nadar.
para disfrutar de una gran aventura. De un joven que se convierte en hombre y de un hombre que se convierte en héroe hasta llegar a ser una leyenda. El Cid, la leyenda.
Yeah, you have one. Another one, the Cantar de Roldan, or the Chant of Roldan. I always remember this because the end of this tale is very similar to how Boromir dies in Lord of the Rings. It's a battle of Roldan against the Muslims, like coming from France, and the Muslims want to go to France to conquer the Muslim being in the Iberian Peninsula in Spain. So there is a fight, and then you see here a little bit that he is like using the horn to cut the army of Charlemagne, but they die, and Charlemagne then because he doesn't want to sound the horn, because he's like, we still can win the Muslims, I don't want to lose the honor for using the horn, but at the end they are going to die, and his allies convince him to just call the allies even if we die, because at least they will be able to avenge us. And so this is what happens. Then he sounds the horn, and they all of them die, but then Charlemagne and the army come and avenge them, like by defeating the Muslims. There is also treason among that. It's very nice. I recommend this. Another one is the Canterbury Tales. Canterbury Tales. That this is basically a group of people in a tavern telling tales to see who tells the best tale, and then who will have a kind of gift. If I remember well, it was like some gift from the tavern or something like that. And then there is the Decameron. That is very similar in the sense that it's a group of people telling stories, but in this case the context is Europe under the Black Plague. So it's like they are kind of survivors. You remember, Black Plague is this epidemic that killed most of people in Europe. So they are just telling stories to be entertained. So then some other books to recommend that I don't know what to put in pictures is Petrarca is an author of poetry. Then there is Arcipreste de Ita. This is Spanish writer. He writes the Libro de Buen Amor, that it means the book of the good love, something like that. Collection of love tales and other kind of stories. Then there is the Conde Lucanor. Conde Lucanor by Don Juan Manuel, another Spanish book. It's stories and how to translate this word. Moraleja means moral fable about behavior, where the Count Lucanor, it's like Count Lucanor and his servant or counselor Patronius are talking, and Lucanor ask for those, and Patronius tell a story with a moral at the end. Another one is the Roman de la Rose, or Romance of the Rose. It's a very curious story and very hard to explain also. It's allegoric, like I'm going to just literally read what I wrote about it. Allegoric poem of court love. It's a dream where allegoric characters appear, like love, court, hope, the joyous lady, danger, fear, old age, and such. Like these kind of concepts are characters, and the rose is the final love that the protagonist has to reach. It's like a dream where the protagonist has to reach the rose, that is the final love. And in the story there are other characters that are personifications of abstract concept, like the joyous lady, fear, hope, and these kind of things. It's very curious. Then another one is the Lives of Mario France. This is some stories that are independent each one, but it's like they appear in the same book, but they are just different stories. Narrative poems about courtesan love. I remember one specifically. I'm going to tell just my memory about a woman who was going to marry, like the father wanted to marry this woman, but nobody should marry. I don't remember. It was something like let me remember. No, it is a woman who wants to marry with a man, but the father doesn't want. So the father says, only the man who can carry my daughter up to the mountain and go down, this man will marry with her. So the woman and her lover do this, but the lover dies at the top of the hill, and then the woman also dies, and so it's like they are buried together or something like this. There are some stories that are just okay, but other stories that are nice, so it's also a very quick reading. And finally, the last one is The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. That is the journey of Dante through hell, purgatory, and paradise. And it's my favorite book of the medieval times, honestly. I just love it. I'm going to see if I can find the Gustave Doré, so you can see the illustrations. Okay, so here you can see. If I have to open one by one, I feel a bit lazy. Here you can see more or less, you see it, the website is worldofdante.org. So here you can see different art, Caron, Limbo, Minos, Lost. This is the, I feel lazy to open one by one. Cerberus, Gluttony, Minotaur. Here, Purgatory. And Paradise. At least I'm going to do this to tell what it is about in general. So it starts in a forest. Dante is in a dark forest. He's attacked by some animals and is rescued by Virgil. Virgil is a Roman poet. Then they go to hell. The journey of Dante through hell with Virgil as a guide. There are 9 circles and they are called Limbo, Lust, Gluttony, Greed, Anger, Heresy, Violence, Fraud, and Treason. And Treachery. Then they go outside hell and they enter Purgatory. Purgatory is represented as a mountain. So, one moment. Dante's hell. So hell is like this, and then the purgatory is like this, and then Dante's paradise is the different planets, so it's like this. So you see hell, so they enter from here, they go hell, go down, 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 and then they go out and they go to purgatory, then they climb the purgatory, and then they reach the terrestrial paradise, and then they go to heaven, that is the different planets and such. So purgatory, the journey of Dante through purgatory with Virgil as a guide. The first is the door of purgatory, and then there are 7 terras that are pride, envy, anger, laziness, greed, gluttony, lust, and finally the terrestrial paradise. And the last one is paradise, the journey of Dante in paradise with Beatrice, his platonic love, as guide. 9 skies, 9 heavens, is the heaven of the planets that are Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Then the starry heaven, the heaven of the fixed stars. And then the crystalline heaven, the first mobile. And the last one is the Empyrean, where God is. And then to finish, just going to show, obviously, one of my favorite games and why I love Dante Divina Commedia, that is Dante's Inferno. And here, oh, there is a PS5. Okay. Anyway, Dante's Inferno, there is a video game and also an animation movie, so I'm going to show trailer of both. Animation movie. Trailer.
Beatrice, I'm coming home. Beatrice.
She is mine.
Dante!
Beatrice!
I have come to take a soul meant for heaven.
Nothing will stop me!
You will never traverse the circles of hell.
Virgil, we must escape this beast! I fear nothing.
How could you betray me?
Forgive me!
Dante!
The music is also wonderful. And the Inferno game trailer.
At the midpoint on the journey of life, I found myself in a dark forest, for the clear path was lost.
Just watching the trailer, I feel I want to play this game again. Well, I think Romanesque art is finished. So next one will be Gothic. So until that moment, enjoy and see you next time.